Welcome back to 4th News. I got some shocking news for you this week, so hit that subscribe button. And it's very possible that what Gaijin is going to reveal at Gamescom is nothing, because they're not going to Gamescom. This was discovered by a viewer of mine who always chimes in during streams, who happened to be watching a many miles away stream, and in the chat, the YouTuber Ash commented, "Looks like Gaijin is not doing Gamescom this year. They have not invited any of the YouTubers, and I asked them in an email. They said likely that Gaijin not going at all." I first wanted to confirm this with myself. However, I was unfortunately informed about this on Friday. Gaijin typically takes the weekends off, and it takes Gaijin about a day to get back to me on the email, so I'll find out maybe in a few hours. However, I doubt Ash was lying, and the person who lent this information to me doesn't seem like somebody who would falsify information. And if he did, I wouldn't squad with him in live streams anymore, so he would have something to lose. So generally, the news is pretty disappointing. Last year's Gamescom streams were pretty fun, although not all hope is lost, as just because they're not going to be at the event doesn't mean they'll have some sort of announcement to make during the time of Gamescom. Much like how Sony released many game trailers during E3 opposed to having a conference, it's possible that Gaijin will throw up their own live stream during the time of Gamescom to announce whatever it is that happens to be there. I'm thinking Swedish Air Force, or maybe Swedish Air Force and tanks, but tanks are most likely to come later near Christmas. However, let's not forget that this is only a possibility. As I said, likely that Gaijin not going at all. Yes, that's basically a no, but they leave room open for a yes. In other news, there were some Datamines that didn't exactly bring up anything too shocking, but it's nice to know what's happening under the hood. And in the changelog, there was an update on how they calculate assists that I talked about last week, intending to test out the new system, as that's the best way to figure out if it works or not reading the boring text. And I kind of didn't play any ARB at all. However, when playing aircraft, I haven't had issues with assists, and I haven't been seeing the issue pop up in the forums a lot, so it either didn't make things worse, which is a positive. I don't know how better things have gotten, and I do need to do some more testing on that. However, I'm a bit burnt out on Climb Thunder. The other changelog updates were some minor bugs, and the Squadron window design has been updated. It wasn't changed too much. In fact, I kind of don't know what they changed at all. There's a possibility of selecting which medals you want to show off for your squadron. However, it's very possible that this alteration is in preparation for the addition of the squadron vehicles that were talked about so many months ago. Final news of this week is BR changes are here, and also some modification cost changes. However, those are much less important. Now, these BR changes, they're straight up memeable. Some of them are pretty good, but some of them are just, you finally did it, Gaijin. We'll get to that. So, starting off with the aircraft, the HE-100 went from 1.7 to 2.0. The BF-109E1 went from 2.0 to 2.3, which is unfortunate because that plane was really fun to club seals with. The I-301 is going from 2.7 to 3.0, so you can also not club seals anymore. The Key 109, despite just being a fat duck, went from 4.3 to 3.7. It should be 3.3 with the other duck. There's hardly any difference between the two, except for this one didn't even have any other front-firing guns besides the 75. The Focke-Wulf 190C is going from 5.3 to 5.0. I don't feel that's entirely necessary. I've had some pretty good games in that. The I-225 is going from 6.3 to 6.0. The Yak-3U is going from 6.3 to 5.7. That's a fat drop. The N1K2J and N1K2JA are both going from 6.3 to 6.0, which is something I've wanted to see happen for a very long time. The Horton 229 is going from 7.0 to 7.3, which is really unfortunate. The R2Y2 Kai V1 and V2 are going from 7.0 to 7.3, and the Kai V3 is going from 7.3 to 7.7. On top of this, they are also being forced to spawn on the airfield, which is something a lot of people have been wanting for quite some time now, as I don't know if anything changed about them, but people realized it's really easy to just go murder the entire enemy team because you got a bomber spawn and you can just dive down on them. Good news, right? Not entirely. You see, I haven't played the V3, but the V2 and V1 are actually very bad jets. They lose speed very easily in turns. Their engines die out after a few minutes of flight, and you have to land, otherwise you're not going to be able to keep up the speed. And they have pretty bad climb rates as well. The only positive aspect of these planes is that they got a ridiculous bomber spawn, and they had 4 30mm cannons. So now they're not only having their BR increased, the V3 going to 7.7, that plane can, no one should ever play it again. You'll find out exactly why in a little bit, but on top of them having to take off from the runway, it was confirmed by Stona that they still spawn with a bomb. You can't spawn with no armament. You have to take a bomb with you. So trying to take off from the runway is going to be even harder with those terrible Japanese engines. Gaijin has this weird habit of letting something be insanely OP, and then when they finally get around to nerf it, they nerf it extra hard so it's no longer viable at all. Really, all they had to do here, give the R2Y2s an attacker spawn. That way, despite their poor performance, they still have a slight advantage, but not an insane one like they currently do. Also, both of the Seahawks are going to 8.0. People never had an issue with the British Seahawk. People had an issue with the German Seahawk because it got sidewinders. But no, they both have to go to 8.0. The standard MiG-15, the MiG-15 bis, the German MiG-15 bis, and the MiG-15-ish are all going to 8.7. Doesn't end there. The Javelin Mark 9 is going to 8.7 instead of them just fixing it. And the MD-452s, both of them are going to 8.7. So any 7.7 plane, say R2Y2 Kai V3, probably going to have a really bad time facing all those MiG-15s and the Javelin and the MD-452s. Like maybe you'll see one or two guys every once in a while playing the Kai V1 and V2, but nobody's going to ever play the V3 after this, if this does pass. Why would you? Its performance over the other ones, it's only slightly. It's not like a massive amount. It's noticeable. There were quite a few other aircraft BR changes that I did not cover here because I kind of didn't care. You might care. Like one of them, for example, was the F-80 C-10 is going to 7.7, but that's not too much of a change of where it is currently. So be sure to check them over yourself and object in the forums if you have any issues with them. So let's continue on these meme BR changes with tanks. There's actually so little I could just read them all. The Su-85 went from 4.7 to 4.3. The ISU-122 went from 5.7 to 5.3. The ISU-122S went from 6.0 to 5.7. Here's the good one, the best one, my favorite. Tiger H1 5.7 to 5.3. This has been a meme for the longest time, the wereaboo's dream of the 5.3 Tiger, but no longer will those wereaboo dreams just be memes. I personally find myself to actually be pretty good in the Tiger 1, and I feel that the spot that it's at is perfectly balanced. While it can have bad games when up-tiered, it can do really well when down-tiered. I was actually planning on doing a video to explain to people how to do well in the Tiger 1. Here's a hint, you gotta angle the armor just right, but there's more to it than that. So anyways, if this does go through and we get a 5.3 Tiger, I can tell you a lot of early Russian stuff is going to have a hard time. In fact, in a down tier, this thing will absolutely destroy, because currently, if you know what you're doing, in a down tier, this thing already destroys. Now let's not get hung up on that too much, because there's some other funny changes down the line. The Jagdpanzer 38T, or the Hetzer, is going from 4.7 to 4.3, which I kind of agree with because it does struggle a bit. The Sturer Emil is going from 5.3 to 5.0. I spaded this thing when it was at 6.0. It was a pain. In fact, I didn't just spade it, I actually ground out the Regenten Jagdpanzer 2 with it. So it definitely shouldn't have been at 6.0 or wherever it was at the beginning. But I think it was fine at 5.3. It doesn't need to be any lower. It's going to murder 4.0 heavies now. The Jagdtiger is going from 7.0 to 6.7, which is something that a lot of people have been asking for a long time, and it definitely does not perform well at 7.0. However, this isn't the correct answer. It's definitely better than a lot of tanks out there and will murder stuff at 5.7 that it's now going to be facing. I'd say that the Jagdtiger in this change is kind of what symbolizes what I feel about the entire thing, and what I've been saying is basically a meme, is especially for the tanks, things are compressing downward, which isn't what we need. We need things to expand outward so tanks that are good can really shine where they should be, not just destroy lower tier items. So yeah, the Jagdtiger being lowered looks like a good thing, but it's not a good thing. It's an unfortunate circumstance. The M26A1 is going from 6.7 to 6.3, which is where it should have been from the beginning, whatever. The 105-25 M43 is going from 3.3 to 3.0. Along with its premium version. The 75-34 M43 is going from 7.3 to 3.3, and the R3 T106 FA is going from 7.0 to 7.3. Now here's the good part. The T32 is going from 7.0 to 7.3, and the T32E1 is going from 7.3 to 7.7. In case you have forgotten, that's the same as the M103, the heavy tank with a 120mm cannon that can fire Heat FS. The T-32E1, its best shell is a APCBC shell that gets 100 millimeters less penetration than the M103's main shell. So this is going to be 8.7 premium bait. The SU-122-54 is going from 7.3 to 7.0, and the AMX-13 is going from 6.0 to 6.3. As for boats, I'm going to go back to only picking the ones I care about because I don't really care much for boats. The PGO2 is going from 3.3 to 3.7. The Project 206, Project 206M, and the German Project 206 are all going from 4.0 to 4.3. The LCS L3 is going from 3.7 to 4.0, and the HMS Dido is going from 5.3 to 5.0. Now once again, these are all planned battle rating changes. If you disagree with them or feel that there's some other vehicles that should be changed along with them, you still have plenty of time to chime in the forum thread that they had opened about it, which will be linked in the description below. Personally, a change that I would definitely make, in the spirit of the 5.7 tagger, I feel that the mouse should be a bit lower. Perhaps a 7.3, but I feel what really is necessary is we need a 6.7 mouse. It's the only way to correctly balance the game. Along with a 5.3 KV220. Oh, and the prototype Tiger should be 5.0, but you can keep heavy tank number 6 at 5.7. I'm mostly kidding, but this next part I forgot to record. Of the modification changes, someone had noted that the F86K for Italy was marked with a reduction. Now, if you don't know, the F86K is not yet in the Italian tree. Though it should be, because Italy, I believe they even constructed the vehicle and then sold it to France. I'm not sure really. However, another person on the forums had noted that the HE100 was also marked to be owned by France. So perhaps it was just a slight bug. However, the F86K was eventually removed entirely from the list. And there is a model of an Italian F86K. So I'm just going to say, man, this basically confirms F86K for the next patch. Anyway, if you've liked this video, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to support the channel, you can press the join button and get early uploads. If you want to see more, I make Worth Under Weekly news videos every weekend. I make random videos throughout the week. I like to stream on Saturdays, and I've been trying to stream on Twitch more often, so make sure to follow me there. So hit that bell icon to be notified anytime I upload thing. I hope you liked the video, and have a good day. In the terms of bonus news, instead of endlessly complaining to Gaijin, someone took their destiny into their own hands and is now making their own Bob Simple tank to be added to the game.